About the Love with Annie Parker. Today's guest is the ever so talented Mr. Malachi Levvi, and we have a pretty long conversation about art and social media and love and parenting, childhood. We get up and down and all around all sorts of topics, and I think you will enjoy all of them.
All right.
Okay. All right. Hello there. This is Annie Parker with All About the Love, and today's guest is Mr. Malachi Levvi. And we were kind of giggling because last night my boys were laughing. They're like, "This is your first podcast. You don't really know." Well, I did try with Albie Alawaya, but it didn't record. And it was an amazing podcast, but it didn't record. So now we're doing it again. And the boys are like, "Well, who is he? Why do you love him?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just really love him." And we were flirting a little bit before we started, but I think it was through Rowdy Sargent, Rowdy, A+, and Cosmo Free. And Cosmo, Rowdy's mom, best beauty school bestie. And then Cosmo's mom, I did her hair and his sister's hair, and then she went to beauty school.
Hey.
So I've never even met Cosmo.
Cosmo's the coolest person.
I know.
He honestly is so,
even just
so
looking at what he posts, I'm like, I feel like I'm cool just for looking at him.
Right.
He has that kind of power. So Cosmo, love ya.
100%. Yeah, no, Cosmo's like he's a really cool dude. He's really, really mellow.
Yeah.
But he always has so much insight. Like whenever I do work.
Have you met his mama?
No, I've never met her. No.
Honey.
She cool?
Meet his fucking mama.
Word.
Every time I did her, I would be like, Can I go home with you? The whole epicenter of them seems to be badass.
Yeah.
But I think that, so you did Rowdy's album.
Yes.
I did, is it for Sparks, where I did the painting for Rowdy's album cover?
Yes.
And then what was your
I did
team members.
I know, right? I did the blue and orange visual of him sitting in the hallway where he's just sitting and doing his song.
Okay.
I also did his cover photos for one of his first albums that he released, The Green Couch Sitting Down at the Beach.
You took those pictures?
Yeah, those are the pictures.
And wasn't there a fun Facebook Marketplace story about the green couch? Was
it
from Rindy?
I think that's what he said.
I think it was maybe from Hi Rindy.
Yeah.
Because me and Carmen fell in love with Rindy. Rindy Munson works at Cal Courts.
Oh, okay,
she looks so good wrapped in spandex. And me and Carmen, we were just really excited to work out. And we found Rindy. And we worked out all the time. And then I think it came from her. Because she's a photographer too.
Yeah. He was saying that
Those pictures were amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's so funny too because I took those pictures before I got my newer camera, and I wish that I would have done it with my newer camera. So maybe we'll have to remaster it.
Redo it.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Well, look, today's so foggy. We could go out there with that green couch.
I know, right?
Again.
It'd be great. Yeah, that green couch is really cool. And when he brought it out, I was like, "Whose couch is this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's my mom's friend, and I gotta give it back, but I want to buy it from her." And I was like, "You totally should because you're taking." I don't think she wanted to get rid of it because she takes photos.
So brilliant.
Yeah, so I don't think that
was either way, Rindy or Rowdy, either of them.
Best.
Good job on the couch.
Yeah, that green couch is really cool. I totally feel for her though, because I probably wouldn't get rid of the couch.
No.
It's such a cool couch.
It's really cool.
So weird to talk about a couch, but it's really such a cool couch.
Not for me.
You're like, you see
as an
my
interior,
couch?
dude, I've been
right.
Things like that are kind of the epicenter of my pleasure.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
When these three colors go together, my eyes are like, okay, the world is well. Okay, give me a math problem. Throw it at me. Shit's color coordinated. You know?
That's so true.
Yeah, my brain definitely has different plugs.
Right. I know, mine does too. I used to have a really, really bad OCD for a long time. When I first started photography, I was editing. So I never touched the camera.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
You're 32. And when did you start making out with the arts?
Oh, man.
And is your art just photography?
No, I also draw. I'm not like, seriously. I used to have like an Instagram account that I had that I put stuff on. But my art extends to all the branches almost. My dad was a musician, so I grew up music. My mom was a physical artist, so I grew up art and drawing and painting and stuff.
Are you from here?
I'm originally from Santa Cruz. I was born in...
I'm going there this weekend.
Oh, hey, nice.
I lived there.
Yeah. I originally was born in Chicago, and then my mom moved out to Santa Cruz.
Okay.
I lived in Santa Cruz for 19 years of my life, something like that.
Okay.
And then I moved to San Diego. Tried San Diego for like 2.5 years. No, I moved out there just, my mom was leaving and she was like, you can either come with me or stay in Santa Cruz. And at the time, like, Santa Cruz is expensive. And I was like, I'm not trying to stay here by myself.
20 plus years ago, me and my partner spent $800 a month to live in half of a garage.
Yeah.
No, nothing. Like had to walk across the courtyard into a nasty bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's expensive.
I liked it.
I was young.
I had a little cruiser. I loved it. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
like,
I couldn't do it.
Right now?
I couldn't do it. It was just expensive and so I went to San Diego.
But it's like Humboldt.
It is. It really is.
It's
Everyone
like
keeps saying Humboldt's going to be the next Santa Cruz and I'm like, please don't, because there's so much traffic.
The expenses are there without the traffic. So
yes.
I would rather pay more to live in Humboldt with no traffic.
100%.
And little Bobo gets to go to the beach without a leash.
100%.
You know?
100%. Yeah, so I went to San Diego and I was there and then I got into like acting and stuff like that and then I wanted to try LA. So I went to LA. I lived in LA.
And how old were you during this?
So I was 20 when I moved, like literally a few days after my 20th birthday, I moved to San Diego.
Okay.
And then I lived in San Diego until I was 22-ish.
Okay.
And then LA I was 23 until 24. I lived there for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And then while I was in LA, I started doing all the LA things, acting, modeling, stunts, and all the life. And my roommate was a predominant photographer at the time. And so he was like, hey, do you want to like edit for a job? I was like, sure. So I started editing and my OCD was like,
oh, this feels good.
Yeah, it was very soothing for my...
I can spend hours on a sentence?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So I edited for a really long time and then one day I was just like, I should like grab a camera and do it myself. And so I ended up...
So you did that?
Yeah, and so I ended up editing for myself. And then grabbed a camera and it's funny because when I was in high school, everyone has
grabbed a camera, but like if you're grabbing a camera, because I grabbed a camera.
Yeah.
Because like my whole family, when they take pictures, it's always at angles.
Yeah.
I look at life through a lens differently. When I got a camera, for me it was my OCD being like, okay, like even looking at you, I would cut out. I've got cords right there.
You see,
right? So that was what brought it to me. It was like that peaceful.
Yeah. Things
are at the angles and the beauty that you want it to be.
100%.
You came into it more like, oh my gosh, I can take what's given to me and pretty it up. And then you were like, motherfuck, I want to do it. Like your video.
100%.
Yes.
100%. So
not Carriage House.
For Rochelle.
Yes, but what is...
It was Carriage House. Yeah.
And that's what you called it?
That's where she worked. Oh, the video name.
The restaurant.
Oh yeah,
she named it the Carriage House.
I don't know if she named it the Carriage House or if it was named the Carriage House after she was hired.
I think it was the video that you did of the amazing woman.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that maybe the building was called the Carriage House. Then other people were in there, and then you did that video, and she calls it the Carriage House, but she's the owner.
So Rochelle was hired.
The video was amazing. I have watched it twice. You got to look on his Instagram.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, she got hired from the previous owners through an ad. I'm pretty sure Rochelle said, and she went there and she told them. Not like in a mean way, but Rochelle is extremely good at what she does. Yeah. So, I mean, in my opinion, if she says something, I'm going to follow what you say because you really know.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
I loved her. I was like, oh, girl, I'm going to succubus her to this.
She has
Come on, Rochelle. Come on the podcast with me.
Right? She has such a predominant, like, energy about her. So...
solidity of her own power that she's not apologizing for without running over.
None. Yeah. No, unapologetically herself for sure. So
without the running over.
Yeah, she's that's the coolest thing I think I understood about Rochelle was you always go to somebody's workplace and you ask them like, how's your boss? And they, like, if the boss isn't around, they'll tell you the truth. If the boss is around, they'll be nice and sugarcoat it.
With the eyes to the side.
Yeah. So I talked to her employees at first, and when she wasn't around and they said XYZ, right? And then when I saw Rochelle, she said XYZ. And then I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then when I did the interviews, they said the same exact thing without her even being around to exactly how she is. And like, it was that moment that I realized that Rochelle is really about what she says.
Yeah.
And so while I was doing these interviews, I was like, wow, this is like way deeper than I thought it was going to go.
Isn't everything?
Oh my God. It's life, right?
Right.
Yeah. So she got hired there, and then she just told them, you know, like, I'm going to do this food the way I want to do it. And if you guys don't like that, then this isn't a place for me. And they were like, go for it.
Who?
The owners were looking for a head chef. And so...
what was it before? Because it did have...
not the Eagle House.
I cannot believe...
It was a restaurant before, and my father-in-law said something about it.
Cornelius? No,
I don't know.
Cornelius.
I don't know.
Oh, she is so beautiful, and I think she owned it. I can't think of the name. Bobo... My dog is really... messing with this podcast. He did this twice.
What's up, buddy?
Little Bobo.
What's up, buddy? She started working there, and she kind of just changed it. She's no longer there anymore. She's doing something else right now, but I was really excited to do that documentary because
she's not there.
She's not there anymore as of like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I thought it was her. So she was more like a pop-up restaurant or something of that.
No, she was the actual head chef, but I don't remember the reasoning. But she left.
Is she gonna start something else?
I'm hoping. I texted her and I asked her, and she said,
"Rochelle, do it."
Yeah, right.
I'll go.
She said she's gonna take a professional.
My honey and I were gonna do a date night there from your fucking video.
Yeah, I know. A bunch of people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go."
Right, you pimped her out so good. The world is tricky. Well, she's got amazingness.
Yeah, but so that was the documentary that I did with Rochelle, and that was really cool.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, my whole journey started from like when I was a kid. I had a really, really crazy life as a kid, so I used to always just tell like filler stories to people, and over time
explain a filler story.
Like I'd make up things to like cover what was happening almost in a way. So I was really good at telling stories, and so when I was a kid growing up, I was like, I want to like tell other people's stories because I'm sick of telling my own stories. I want to tell other people's stories. So picking up a camera and doing photography was cool because it tells a story to an extent. But then when I started getting into video, it gave me like a different sense of I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but a different sense of self, really being able to give the voiceless a voice. I made a video about giving the voiceless a voice. A lot of people have stories, but they just don't know how to tell them, or they don't have enough confidence to tell them themselves.
Yeah. Or it's such a cornucopia.
Yeah.
How do you delineate? Because when I was watching your video that was so beautifully done, it was like imagining you in your brain. Like there are so many trailheads. Well, there's a trailhead with so many trails. Like which trail? Like you could have just done who she was, just her relationship with, just there's so many ways to go. I think that a lot of people are blocked. I feel blocked a lot of times. Like I have so many things that I'm in. Like, what am I?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, your hair's. I'm like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
What?
Right. Jack of all trades, master of none.
A video, can really like. Open up
give
and
the story.
unpedal all the things, because nobody is a doctor, nobody's a fireman. Like, why are you a fire? What fires are you putting out? What is your intention? What you're never that. And I think that a picture shows that, and a video shows
the story behind the story. It's funny doing what I do because I work with a lot of different businesses, landscaping companies and what have you. I often have the question asked, like, what can you provide for us through your services, And that question is such a loaded question because there's so many things that you can offer. But the main thing to offer people is to be able to tell their story. Yeah. Everyone has a story for why they do what they do, why you do art, why you do, hairstyling and, whatever. And I think that like offering that service is not just like offering a business thing, but it's also telling the community about you. And I'm a huge community driven person. Mm-hmm. So being able to tell the community the stories, being able to tell the community the stories that they should be hearing.
Yes.
I feel like are way more important to me. Like Rochelle's story, it was worth telling.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really worth telling, and now people understand. Most restaurants you go to, not to say anything bad about anything, but most restaurants you go to anywhere in the world outsource their food. Rochelle's like, I'm going to the
little bit
market.
Luckier here.
Oh yeah.
With Humble.
Oh yeah. Way luckier here.
Like right now, I do feel like after COVID, there's been a fear and a conundrum, and how do you get excited and glorious about what you're serving? If you serve the basic, you're only going to make 10 cents. If you're going to serve the glory, you might make 5 cents. We got to pay for stuff. It's
100%.
Do you feel like there are certain things, like even me with doing hair, there are certain things in the abundance climate that there's not as much creativity, because creativity can sometimes cause flare.
Yes.
Like you with talking about, he's brilliant and helping with the microphone, like that's flare. Yeah. That's like, okay, there's not as much. But I feel like with Humble, that is one of our greatest things.
I think so.
There's such a root system of let's bring somebody who's making the food from their earth. Let's bring somebody that is doing it from ourselves instead of
reaching out,
noodling out.
I think that's probably one of the biggest things that brought me here. My wife, when So how did you and your hottie meet? And how did you and your hottie get to Humble? Okay, so
and what's your hottie's name? Hi, can't wait to meet you.
She's Reagan Lima.
Hi, Reagan Lima.
She actually she was going to school at 5 Branches for Chinese medicine.
Okay. Is 5 Branches a Humble?
No, it's in Santa Cruz. So she was in Santa Cruz. I had just left LA and went back to Santa Cruz just on a whim. I was like, I want to go back home. I'm not a big city kid, so LA was weird. Yeah. But so I went back to Santa Cruz.
It's funny because I think of Santa Cruz as a city.
Yeah, right.
I mean, not totally, but when I was there, I was like, God, there's traffic everywhere.
Everywhere, it's crazy there.
I was like
it's so much busier now.
I lived there. And
it's so much busier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was New Year's. Yeah, it was New Year's 2016, and I went, hung out with some friends, and they were like, bring somebody and like, let's have fun. I'm like, nah, I'll just go hang out with the boys, And so they actually made a dating profile for me.
Of course.
Yeah, on Bumble. And they're like my...
Did you kind of know?
No, I had no idea.
Okay.
No, I was totally
had
clueless.
some people be like, okay, I just want to kind of know. But
yeah, no. I had no idea. Okay. I had no idea. And so I'll try to shorten it. It's a long story, so I'll try to shorten it. So they made this profile and didn't tell me anything. New Year's passed. 2 weeks later, all of a sudden I'm coaching, and it was in the middle of my 5-minute break between my next class, and I go check my phone, make sure everything's okay. I look at my phone, and it's like, you have a match. And I'm like, what is this? And how, like, sometimes your phone gets random notifications from whatever. I'm like, what is this? And I just kind of, like, disregard. Go back to my class and didn't even look at it again. It was like a month after that. So it was a week, 2 weeks and a month after. And I'm teaching my class again, and this notification comes up, and I'm like, what is this? And I finally click on it. And lo and behold, it's Reagan. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, what is this dating app? And I'm like, I never made this. And I go to my profile, and I'm reading the profile, and it's like me to a T. And I'm like, did I do this when I was drunk? And I was like, but I didn't drink. I'm not a drinker like that. So I was like, what is going on? So I'm really confused.
Aliens are real.
Yeah, right? 100%. So I'm like, this is crazy. And so I look at I'm looking through the pictures, and I'm like, wow, she's really cute. And I look at her description, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is kind of weird. I'm like, should I say something? And I'm asking my coworker, Michelle, I'm like, should I say something? She's like, yeah, say something. And I'm like, what if this is like some scam or something, whatever.
Right.
And she's like, just do it. What's going to happen? I'm like, all right. So I go into the messages, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a 47-year-old white male, and I have 17 cats. And she's like, 47-year-old white male, I'd have to get used to, but the cats I can do. And that was like the worst joke I could have told.
Yeah.
And she went for it, and I was like, no way. So we went on a date, and that was a wrap.
Nice. So that's around 20?
Yeah. So no, that was when I was 23. 24 almost. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and so you
24.
guys had both lived in Santa Cruz, but not
ever met. Not
Isn't
ever
that
met.
So cool.
Yeah. Right.
I in my 20s dabbled with dating some people.
Yeah.
I moved away, but I dabbled with dating some people that weren't from Humboldt, and it was such a trip for me because, like, I say river, and I think of our rivers.
Yeah.
I say beach, and I think our beaches. And then you date somebody, and they're from Texas, and their river is like slow and brown, and there's no turbulence.
Yeah.
Or they say beach, and they mean they park half a mile away and can't bring bottles or a dog.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to have this conversation, and I was like,
it's just not happening.
oh, yeah. But I have found, because doing hair, you know, it's basically like you just have your finger on all of the community.
Yeah.
So many people fall in love with people from their hometown that they haven't met, but it makes sense because first of all, your time, space, reality is at the same place. You came to the same matriculation.
Universe is like you're right here.
Right, yes. It all...
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see how it would be amazing to just fall in love with a total difference, but I like that.
Yeah,
like, it's funny. Like, okay.
She was awesome, and it was funny too because at the time I was like not into dating. I was like, I'm not. I'm trying to focus on.
When you get laid for real.
Yeah, you know.
When you are so full, you don't need it.
Yeah, so
when you're empty and you need it, it's like, you know, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it happened, and man, she instantly turned into my best friend. She's been my best friend ever since, and so we got married at the Ingmar, the Carson Mansion. Nice. Yeah, which was really cool. Nice. It's funny because when we talk about it, everyone's always like, "That was the best day of my life," and I'm like, "It totally was." I know it was my wedding, but it totally was the best day of my life as well. Right. You know, it was
a
awesome.
wedding when people are actually in line and not doing it for the culture or the bullshit. A wedding can be the best thing ever. Otherwise, I'm just excited, honestly, to have free booze and slutty high heels.
Right. I
mean, a lot of times.
And you go dance. It's fun. Weddings are fun. Yeah, you know?
It is fun. But when you go and you know that these people are doing it not because the culture said, but because their stories are meant to be one.
100%, right?
I don't even care about the food then.
Yeah, it was.
Who needs a snack when there's love afoot?
It was funny.
I would have to say, there were a lot of marriages that you're like, I'm just glad I got to be here for the party.
I know, right?
I'll be here for the divorce party too.
Yeah, I tried not to cry. The only reason.
Oh, why'd you try not to cry? You must be so cute.
I wanted, right. I wanted to be like, I wanted to be present in every aspect that I could be. And my son was in a wheel or like a what are they called? The red wagons.
God, a little red flyer.
Yes, thank you.
Red flyer.
Yeah, he was in a little red flyer.
You and her have sperminated, and he got to be in the wedding.
Yes, it was so cute.
Malachi.
He came down the aisle with his cousin Amelia, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then she came right after that, and I was like, "I'm fucked." I was just bawling.
I'm fucked.
I was just bawling, and then
You're like, whoever's videoing this, just bring it in.
So
Look
great.
at my tears.
It was so great. Yeah, so we have 2 kids. We have our oldest is Ira, he's 2, and our youngest is Theo, and he's just turning 5 months tomorrow. So yeah, they're the cutest little boys.
Isn't it amazing?
It's so funny. Growing up, especially being a guy, right? The stigma about like being a parent. Most guys are like, you don't want to do that. My whole life, I always heard from other guys like, don't have kids and don't have. More. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's like
older, like people that were fathers.
Like my age or fathers that couldn't handle or had an expectation that didn't. You know what I mean? Like everyone has an expectation of something. But from my upbringing, being rough. And also being a coach and like helping kids. I mean, I was a coach for 16 years of my life. What did you coach? I coached parkour and gymnastics. So yeah, so it was really fun.
Parkour.
Oh yeah, it's such a
and gymnastics.
It's such a.
I did rhythm gymnastics.
Hey,
I wasn't
very nice.
Up, but man, I made that fucking
ribbon
so glorious.
That's so funny.
My brother, Wyatt, I love you. Wyatt was like, oh my lord. I did triathlons.
Oh, word.
Not very fun to watch. I did kick ass. I always won.
That's dope. I would die.
I did dressage.
What is that?
Well, it's like ballet on horseback.
Oh,
which Wyatt would be like, it's like watching cement dry. It totally is. But for you up there with your tiny ring finger making a 1,200-pound beast like relax and dance was beautiful. But all of the sports I did were like, so it's like,
right?
Because my cousin Kristen Parker, she was like on the way to the Olympics. Like she was UCLA Bruins #1 gymnast.
Okay.
Like she would impress my brother so much because he could just fucking flip down the hallway and do all these things with her brush in her hand. And he'd be like, "Come on, sister, show me," and I'd be like, "Wiggle up,
wiggle my ribbon."
Wiggle my ribbon.
That's funny.
So I love gymnasts. I'm like, oh, you are.
Yeah.
I can definitely, I can do some cartwheels like a
word. Yeah. I can still flip a little bit. I had an injury to where I can't do backflips anymore. I have vertigo. So yeah, I smashed my head, and so now like,
and it's a constant?
Yeah, not like, I mean, I could trigger it right now, but it's not like a constant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a cartwheel really does.
Yeah.
It brings vertigo even if you don't have an issue with vertigo.
Yeah. It was funny. I was actually with Reagan the first time that my vertigo like triggered, and it was something I had never felt in my life. Obviously, I've been flipping for years of my life, and so I was like, "Hey, will you record this?" And I was at the little boardwalk, over in Old Town, and I'm like, "Yeah, will you record this?" And I went to go do this flip, and I went upside down, and it was the first time I'd done this flip 1,000 times. I did a MacBook commercial with this flip and all this stuff, and I went upside down, and it was the first time that I had no idea where I was. Like and it was the most foreign feeling. Yeah. Landed on my butt, hurt my heels so bad, and I'm looking at her, and she's like, "Are you okay?" Because she's seen me do it a million times, and I was like, I had no idea what just happened.
You were totally there for the beginning part, but once you went into the flipperoo, your body lost yourself, so you didn't know where to land. Yep. So you
That flip I used to be able to do with my eyes closed. I had done it so many times in my body, my muscle memory was just like, that was the thing. Yeah, and so I did that, and that was the moment where I was
Isn't
like,
that something with a pressure point in your ear?
Yeah, it's like the crystals in your ear, like the fluid in your ear, something like that is kind of like messed up.
And didn't the vaccines, I feel like 2 of my clients that had vaccines had
I think so.
vertigo.
I think so.
That they had to deal with a lot. I forget. Is it still an issue for you?
I mean, yeah, I can trigger it whenever. Like when I play with my boys and I throw them up in the air, if I look too high, I'm like, oh my God.
Remind me when we're done with this.
Word.
I'll flirt with one of my friends because there was 2 clients, and after the vaccine, it was like their
equilibrium
was crazy. Like even lying down in bed.
Wild.
And the one that I'm thinking of, I feel like she went somewhere and they had something for it. I've tried F-wing maneuvers. Did you feel sick a little bit?
I mean,
I feel like they were dizzy and also a little bit sick.
Yeah, both. My wife will do like I forget what the seeds are called, but they're in like these little square band-aids, and they go on your ears and pressure points. Yeah. She does that for me when my vertigo triggers really bad, or she'll give me something.
I know
I love her. She's the best, honestly.
I think I've had that. I forget
Yeah.
what it's called, but there's something, it's like a clear glass rod that you put essential oils on, and you kind of like pull and stress. So they did that, and then they used tape, right? I feel like there's
it's like tape with little seeds. Yeah. And you squish them when you're like, having your moments.
Yeah. But it was only like for an hour you wore it, right?
Oh, no, I would wear mine until they fall off. I kept them on for days. Oh. I mean, when my vertigo triggers, it's pretty gnarly. Like the last time I've had it, luckily I haven't had it in a long time. I was pretty much out for 4 days. Like Reagan had to walk me to the bathroom and help me. Like I completely.
You didn't know what was up or down.
Yeah.
We'll get Reagan on here and we'll talk about this little black.
It feels like the world is just going like this, but you're looking forward the whole time.
Yeah.
Like imagine you're like, I don't know if you've been super, super drunk ever, but it's the drunkest you've ever been in your life instantly. Right. You're fully aware that everything's happening, but you're just like not.
Oh, I definitely drank till I threw up. And it's like when you're at the beach and the water comes in and you're standing still, but you're like, am I really?
Yeah, am I really? Yeah.
And then I would tell myself, I'll never drink again.
And then you do. Yeah, and so.
You really did still.
So that injury made me quit. Not made me quit, but made me like really take a break.
Yeah.
I had also Reagan, of course, she saved my life. I was having massive adrenal fatigue from working 15-hour days and only taking 5 minutes between each day and not eating properly and just kind of like making my body do all these crazy things on a constant basis.
Do you have the belief that you have to be working hard to be okay?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, like most of it's from my upbringing. Not to like be a sad story or anything. Everyone has their things, but we grew up homeless. So when we were kids, when we came here, you know, my mom with 3 young...
where did you guys come from?
From Chicago.
Chicago, okay.
So, you know, my mom taking care of 3 young black kids in Santa Cruz by herself. No family here, nobody, no help, no nothing. So
why the fuck did she go to Santa Cruz?
My dad was a musician.
To Oregon.
I know, right? My
so
dad.
glad that she got you anywhere you could, but oh my gosh, Santa Cruz, mama.
My dad was a musician at the time. He was.
And they were together.
No, he just bailed, and my mom didn't know what to do. You know, my mom was a young mom with the kids, and so she followed him. She went to go after him and.
Followed, not with the thinking that he was going to help, but I'll at least be in the same epicenter.
Yes. And so we went to Santa Cruz, and it was rough for a really, really long time. And so that upbringing and like everything that I had gone through made me not only appreciate self more, but appreciate like community, because my mom found so many different friends and so many different people to help later. At first, it was really rough. You know, you have to get acquainted and learn all things.
You got to find the aunties.
Yes.
I call them aunties.
Yeah, right.
They're like besties with
that are always there to help you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so with that, you know, I grew up and it was like this, like you said, this feeling of always having to work hard. I mean, I'm talking even when I'm at home. I edit at home. Like yesterday, I had my son while Reagan was at work. And I was editing for probably like 7 hours straight. And even after working, Reagan comes home and I'm like, okay, I'm going to clean and I'm going to do this and it's just this constant thought of like, I need to be doing something, because if I'm not doing something, if I'm lazy or if I'm sitting, you know, I'm like not doing things kind of idea. So
I feel like I've even transferred that, because that's a big issue for me. And I get so swirled around in it that there's also the thought that, like, I think that I work so hard and I'm always busy because being productive feels good. I've got a lot of creativity and shit that's in me. Like, there are gloriousnesses to my squirrely crackness.
100%.
There is also... I notice now that I'm really working on it, is that when I am sitting, you really feel it.
Oh, yeah.
So if I, like, let's say I'm not working, but I'm making dinner or doing the dishes, I'm still doing something. And so what I have noticed, like, meditation is one of the fucking hardest things for me. And I think what it is when you sit still, you really have to just deeply be okay. Like, I love myself. Yeah. I don't know if I'm okay with being. You know, do you feel what I'm saying a little bit? Like, 100%. I feel like you and 100%. I have a lot of the same artist movement. Like, we've got to do something, prove something. And a lot of it isn't proving. It's like, there's just so much fucking in me. Like, you saw when I met you, like, I was electrified, but you weren't even to the door. You know, it's like, that is natural. That is what I came to this planet for. But also there's this cultural, there's this childhood trauma, like all these things that I'm also trying to get rid of. So right now 100%. I'm really working on, okay, laundry and dinner are important, but really important. Can you sit and some of it happens with, I call it pretend pooping, because when I used to have my big salon and people would be there the whole time, I would go to the bathroom and pretend poop and just sit and be I put my feet up and I just sit there, and sometimes I'd text my friends like, I'm pretend pooping. That was how I gave myself a fucking minute. So there's such a cornucopia of which I want to hone and which I want to discard and which I want to play with. I think stillness is a big one. Like,
it is. It's hard to sit in
so
stillness.
Much to do. Like, you're at the beginning. But also you're your boys are at the beginning. And where is that fine line?
Yeah.
Like, dude, if I do 2 more hours of editing, I might be able to take you on a trip and fully pay attention to you. But also,
100%.
real life is right now, and those hours are better than a trip.
Yep.
And this is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's hard. It's funny. It wasn't until I had kids, like I had always been busy per se.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I had kids that I realized what time management is. Like, I don't care if you have no kids and you own 5 businesses. You do not understand the concept of time until you have children.
Yeah.
Because you
even a puppy you can kind of put in a crate.
Yeah. Like your child needs things all the time. And your time, it doesn't exist. You're on their time. You know what I mean? You're always on their time. When they're napping, that's your time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even then, you're like, oh, they're napping. I got to do dishes, but I got to go do dishes. Because when they wake up, I have to feed. You know, the concept of time is such a...
Well, and you're in the throes, honey.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
2 and 5
2
months.
and 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, I remember tearing up at the river when my oldest was a year and just being like, will I never have me again? Because my favorite thing to do at the river would be to read a book, maybe puff a little pot, and I like to like swim for like a long time, not talking to anybody.
Oh, word.
Like eyes closed, you
just
go
zoning.
down, you hear the river, you come up, you feel the sun, you go down, you
Yeah.
I like tears. I was breastfeeding on the beach, you know, and your stomach's there. Like you're not lying like this.
Yeah,
like everybody look.
Yeah.
You're fucking lying there with your stomach and your nipple out and your baby that you love so fucking much, but you're like, I would love to swim. And I really, it was such a poignant moment of like, will I have that again?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it comes back, like,
oh yeah, it does.
And then you wish.
Oh yeah.
I mean, totally. But I would like if I could take my babies and like.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I love what they are right now, but it is so fast.
Yeah.
But those little baby mini eras.
They're wild.
Fuckwad.
Yeah. I was really glad.
There is like your needs. Malachi.
I was really glad that I was a coach for a long time because it really prepared me. I was like a preschool coach for a long time, so I had toddlers for a while, so I knew the terrible 2s, the worst 3s, all those, you know.
Yeah.
But
and let's not say that anymore.
I know, right? It's
because
not really terrible 2s. It's
my
just how they
kids
are.
have been glorious the whole time.
Yeah.
My daughter at family dinner the other night, she's like, Mama, do you think we'll ever get grounded? She's like, people get grounded.
She's like, I want to get grounded. You're
like,
no,
she's excited, but
yeah.
I forget what I was saying.
Terrible 2s.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I have been speaking into existence since my son Luke was born that I cannot wait for every stage of his life.
Oh, 100%.
I can't wait till high school.
100%.
And he is a badass sophomore.
Yeah.
And he and I are doing great.
Yeah.
He does not have issues. I mean, obviously, 100%. I'm annoying and I'm, you know,
your
just
mom.
Like with him.
Yeah.
Not even mom. I'm just, look at me. I'm a lot like mama. But, and my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, I am excited for her to hit puberty.
Yeah.
Because I am allowing her to be what she came to this planet for. And
sure.
She is not mine.
For sure.
I am her conduit.
For sure.
To here. And I am, praise the Lord, I get to be a part of it. But I feel like when I had babes, I talked to people because I did hair. I was breastfeeding at work.
Yeah.
Like, don't say that.
Yeah.
Why are you fucking saying that?
Yeah.
Why would a 2-year-old be a bitch?
Yeah.
You're a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Listen to your kid. Pay attention.
And be present.
Change what you're doing. Yeah. And maybe if you listen to them. You know that thing? It's like if you ask a kindergartner a problem, they're going to solve it better than a college graduate.
Yeah. Every time.
That is what you have right now.
100%.
And for any of those fears, like me crying, you will wish that you couldn't take a nap or do the dishes.
Oh, for sure. Oh my god.
But
I love the stages.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love the stages.
Yeah.
The only thing that I ever say, and like if you're a guy watching this, listen up. It's very important.
Yeah, dudes need
the biggest thing for me in my experience and what I've seen with my friends is men not appreciating what their spouses do for them on a regular basis, right? So like even from the idea of like, I see people like, oh yeah, she's just breastfeeding. No, she's giving massive amounts of energy to that child that she now has to get the energy for. And then you're going to ask this of her when she doesn't have enough to give for herself to this. There's so many different things that women do for babies.
Sitting there.
No.
Because for me, I love.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a total squirrel crackhead. I love snuggling and sitting still so much.
Yeah.
And for me, even though I love, like I still snuggle my kids all the time.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing. Like when your kid needs to eat and you're in the midst of doing what you need to do and you have, you know, and I read articles before my son was born about the essence of your energy while you're breastfeeding is so important. So I had to shake out the need for my OCD. I have to be professional. I have to have people thinking I'm awesome for me to be okay. But no, I have to let all that go and love you.
Yeah.
Yes, I do love you. Yes, I will sit here. Okay.
Yep.
But as I was sitting there nourishing my baby with all the food and all the intention, I was not sitting there.
Yeah.
That was as much as doing a triathlon.
Yep.
And to have a man like you see it is huge.
Yeah.
And if that child gets a fucking calibrated mama with good food inside of her to give that to him, they are going to be a better man for, like, if we can stop and center and know that when a woman is doing something like
oh my
that,
God, it's massive.
It is huge.
It's like, you know, people ask me and Reagan all the time, like, are you guys going to have a third kid? And my reaction every single time is, I would love to have a kid, but I do not want to watch my wife go through that again. And not as if it was like the most horrible thing ever, but there's such a hard thing about watching someone struggle and not being able to do a single thing to help. That was like my biggest thing with our babies.
Yeah.
Even now, like, I mean, we're a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old. So Reagan has been on a 3-year, 2.5-year period of no sleep, of every minute to something else, you know? So like, I'm always like, give me the babies, or let me do this, or let me do this, take your time and do your things, you know? But now that, you know, Theo's getting a lot older, Reagan's starting to like, she's going back to work. So, you know, I have the boys for most of the days on the week, and so she can go work. But just being able to see her not have to give her 100% to something and give that 0.1% to herself all the time is such a gift. And I think that a lot of dudes don't think about that. They really don't think like you really have it pretty fucking easy, to be blunt. You know?
I feel in a way though, you guys have it rough in the fact that this is your closest human.
Yeah.
This is who you support, who you love, who's your friend, who's your lover, who brings you pleasure, who brings you pain, who brings you all of that.
Yeah.
And then your fucking dick put some sperm up in there.
And you have...
And she's in her own island. You know, I mean, you're always with other people. Yeah. In your own islands.
Always.
But
always.
You have this little thing, and she's on, like, no matter what you do as a lover for your baby mama, there are things, everybody's different with how it affects. Yeah. And after I watched my pregnancy and first birth, doing hair, you know, like a counselor. Yeah. I really started paying attention to the men because what is that like for a man? So my son's dad was really sick for a long time. Yeah. And I was so eyes opened to the fact if somebody is sick, pay attention to their partner. Like that person is sick. They're in the hospital. They're getting tacky ass Jello. They're getting everybody rubbing their feet and asking how they are. And you're fucking working twice as much, stressed, skinny, trying to hold it up. Like, ask them. So then, a couple of years later, I give birth, and it's like everybody's helping me. This baby is me. Yeah. This baby came through me. This baby is sucking on me. This baby is looking at me and changing my motherfucking life so fast. Like, me before Luke to Luke. Total difference. And then here's his dad. Yep. I didn't even want him to touch me when I was giving birth. Yeah. I thought I wanted all my peeps all up on me. I held the wall. Yep. Did ballet moves with my leg and talked to my baby like a horse. Yep. How I used to speak to horses. Yep. And his dad, however much I loved him, no, this
This is my space.
Yeah. And then it takes, like, I was going to think, like, your baby's 5 months. You're now a little bit more a part of it. Not that you're not, but I would like to send love to dads.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you are doing it right, have so much on your plate to love and support and to be there and to help your children, even though your children really are made to be with the mom.
Yeah.
So, do you feel what I like?
Oh, yeah.
Women need more love and support. We need to be told that being a mom is a full-time job, because if you're not a good mom, you're going to be in counseling and on drugs, and everybody's going to have to deal with it. So, let's pay the moms that are paying attention to shit. But while simultaneously, you dadas, to be acknowledged, like, I feel like it's just been recently that dudes who aren't like us, but who actually go to work for an employer, they get paid to hang out with their kids now. Did it just happen?
Paternity
leave. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paternity leave was cool. I you know, it's so funny to me, like, I feel like moms that are stay-at-home moms or just like have kids and are at home or whatever, I feel like, in my opinion, they should be paid. That's a full-time job. That's a full-time job to an extent. You know, you're doing a lot of work, and not only, I mean, you're bringing new life and new people into the community to build a bigger community. So, like, it reaches much, much deeper. But I think that moms need more credit, and I think that dads need more credit, and I think the dads that are
How about if we say the family?
Yeah, the whole family, for sure.
Like, the love and connection of what happens within the family unit.
Yeah.
And the structure of how everybody is vital and important. Like, I like letting my daughter know at 9 years old how important she is to her brother. That's 15. And for my 15-year-old to know how much he is important to me, and for me to remember that my energy, how that affects my honey, and how that... If we can all, instead of these competitions, or I don't know if it's competitions, it's a culture that's not working, and we're still fucking following it.
Yes, I would say competition. I actually talk about this.
Like, who's busier? Who's more tired? We're all tired because nothing is correct. What's correct is love and support and the root ball. Not.
If you think about it from this, I had a conversation with somebody about this the other day. You may or may not have heard this before, but think about this for a second, right? When we're little kids and we're in school, obviously your school is different from my school. My school is going to be different from high schoolers nowadays, right?
Right.
But when we go to school...
I could have even been in the same class with you and had a whole different experience.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I mean, we could...
Yeah. So, you know, you're taught sports, offense, defense, right there. That's kind of, you know...
Polar
opposite. Yeah, a little bit, right? Yeah. And then you have, you know, you introduce them to politics, right? You're already teaching...
Fucking blender.
Yeah, you're already teaching, like, somewhat of a segregation, because, like, you could ask...
The food pyramid, you're doing this. Everything's the pyramid.
100%.
And really, I want to flip-flop most all the fucking triangles that were pyramids.
So,
even the pyramids in Egypt are wrong.
Right?
Like,
so we
the triangles need to be uprooted.
we learn so much, you know, like, one-sided competition, I guess. And, like, even with my medium, I can't even tell you how many times...
What is your medium?
Photography and videography. We'll just say, you know, media. Media works. That's my medium. Media.
Yes,
right?
I love it.
So doing media, you hear a lot of the time, like, you'll hear other people, oh yeah, like, well, my competition, or oh, my competition, and it's such a downfall to say anybody is competition, because the minute you do that, you're not welcoming in new perspectives.
Can you imagine if we said my compatriots?
It's
these little badasses that like what I like.
I share people's work on my story all the time. I promote other people's businesses all the time.
And doesn't it behoove you?
Yeah, because I actually have DMs from people like, why would you share somebody else's work on your page instead of, like, aren't they going to take your clients? And I'm like, it's not about taking clients.
Then they're not my clients.
Yes. The biggest thing for me in media...
Can we high five about they're not my clients?
They're not mine. They're the community, right? So,
well, or not even, yes, to that for sure. But also, if you let go of all of that ownership, all kind of like what we're talking about with uncorrectness of the culture, if you just know that you can let everybody shine and that there's enough abundance and jobs and glory and everything for just who you are.
Yeah.
Because I do great art.
Yeah.
I do great parenting.
Yeah.
I do great hair.
Yeah.
And fuck, I could fuck up everything if I wasn't the perfect one for you.
Yeah. 100%.
So let's all,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things for me right now, especially living here, is I hear that so much, and I just think like, you know, in my experience, I actually recently had this experience. I had somebody reach out to me and say, "Oh yeah, like I would love to work with you and use your services," and I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." Like, what's your budget? And we talked about budget and whatever, and then like a week later, they messaged me and said, "Oh, you know, actually, your work is a little too professional and a little too costly for what we want to do." And I'm like, "That's totally fine." So they went off and
good job for feeling like that.
That's okay.
That can take years to even get there to be like, oh my god, I should change my whole structure because one motherfucker was like,
yeah, I totally understand. Of course, yeah. So they went off and they did their thing, but they went to somebody who is not producing like a quality media for them. And the only problem with like not building a community and having competition is you don't teach those people how to better themselves. So when they go to somebody and offer work, the next time you do, they're going to be like, oh, the last guy didn't do well, or the last guy didn't do this.
You know how many people don't want bangs or layers because somebody
else does. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm like,
so
baby, let's just
so
you can't be screwed from layers or bangs.
Yeah. So
I totally see
I really teach everything. Like everything that I know, like the stuff that I talked to you about earlier about your mics.
Yeah, he's gonna help us be more professional.
People will ask, you know, like they'll tell me like, oh, don't sell or don't give information, sell information.
Give information.
I'm like, if you gatekeep, that's what we will all start seeing, and all of the people who started with nothing like we did will never learn from the mistakes that we've made, you know. So building that community and really like sharing those things is important to me. I don't care. Like you could call me tomorrow and I will tell you every single secret I know,
right?
And the reason why I'll tell you is because I hope that you do it better than I do,
right? And that you guys can all do it amazing.
Yes.
You know,
like you learn art
yeah.
from learning somebody else's,
yes.
somebody else's,
or
somebody
even
else's.
With art, like that black painting over there, that little bitch. Sorry, Tiffany. Girls just want to have fun. Tiffany, I put her on Instagram twice to sell.
Yeah.
She hangs here. Nobody sucks her ass. Nobody
Why?
even fucking cares. Because I was fraudulent. Because I was like, I wanted money.
Yeah.
Life's expensive.
Yeah.
I've got lots of things. And I was like, you know what? You need to do art in different... you need to do it so other people that don't... So I did that.
Yeah.
And it is not bad. But it's not me. Because I was doing it to try and appease or to try and think, I'll bring more in.
Got you. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
Glorify people that do darker fluorescent paintings.
Yeah.
I am not that.
Yeah.
So that painting has really taught me. So just last night, me and my whole team, that's my spiritual fucking peeps that I got grandmas and grandpas and papas and
yeah.
I mean, Jesus is in there.
Yeah.
Metatron's up in there. Mother Mary loves me. She apparently was right here. And like, I'm going to paint over it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to be a failure artist. I'm going to realize I stepped out of who I was trying to make myself more palatable.
Yeah.
Where I don't need more.
You don't need any.
I need to go to me.
Yes.
And those people will find.
Yes.
And to,
You know, a while ago, when I lived in LA, I became somebody that I never wanted to become. I started worrying about what I looked like and what I wore and what I drove and like all of these things. And at the time,
I think it's in their cloud system.
I think it is too.
I mean, I think it really
it
like
leaches
with the
Yeah, 100%. And it's also the people that you surround yourself with. But you know, I started to become somebody that I never wanted to be, and I went back home to visit a friend, and he was like, "What are you doing?"
And then you met Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, "What are you doing?" Like,
he's like, "Bitch, I'm putting you on Bumble."
Yeah. Like, why are you being a weirdo? Like, why are you acting like this? Why are you caring? And literally after that day, like, I don't care about people's opinions anymore. I don't. And it's not like in a toxic way, like, I don't care. But it just...
You're letting it go.
Yeah. I mean, I wear the same clothes all the time. My wife's always like, "Babe, get new pants." And I'm like, "Why?" She's like, because they have
you
scratches, and I'm like, babe, they work. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, and I'm like, I don't care, you know. So now that's kind of like how I've always been is you know, not really caring about what people are really saying unless it's like a great critique. Yeah, I'll listen to you every day.
Oh,
Absolutely,
God,
I love
right?
people's great critiques, but judgments, you know, judgments.
All I want is friends that can really
Yes.
tell me, like, dude,
Yes.
please don't fucking fuck
Yes,
me.
yes, and that's what the world we live in, you know. Like, perfect example. My son Theo looks nothing like me. He looks exactly like his mom.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest fluff that I get lately is, oh my God, he looks just like you, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you're so full of shit because he looks like his mom.
I don't trust you.
See, now I know that you're lying to me.
Yeah.
I don't care if he doesn't look like me. That's my son. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So like that little fluffing opinion
even
is like.
within that, think of that, extrapolating it to when you are wanting a connection with somebody that it's not worth it.
Yes.
Because you're thinking.
Yes.
If I wear those pants, if I do, you know.
Then yeah.
It's like.
Yeah.
Why would you
get
say
lost?
it? So I had a sex and sexuality, I don't know. It was a sex class up at Humboldt. And the teacher had just had a baby.
Okay.
I don't even remember what their DNA was. If they came out with a penis or vagina. I think it was a little vagina that came out. And she would go out to the plaza and some weekends, it was like the, what's it called?
Eureka Friday Night Market?
No, the arcade one. Farmer's Market.
Oh, Farmer's
Oh
Market.
my Lord.
Yeah.
I was like, what are those words? So
yeah.
We started the class. The baby was born like in the summer. And so she takes the babe and one weekend dresses it more feminine, more with what our culture thinks.
Yeah.
And then the next, more masculine. And she like had a little journal. And it was fucking mind blowing. What just random people would say.
Oh yeah.
And would say, like, oh my goodness, he's so big and strong. Or, oh, look, she's so sweet and petite.
Funny? Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you saying?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to have a vagina until I was 21. And at Jacoby Creek School, the teachers knew if you walked into the classroom and asked somebody to move furniture and you didn't include me, if you just asked Eric and Josh.
Yeah, you'd be pissed.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, why don't you ask me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like so many differences with you don't need to be going by.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't even make sense.
It's funny, my sons are cute. Like
I know
beautiful. I know everyone's always like, my kid's the cutest, and like I totally understand that. But if they weren't my children, they are so damn cute. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Every single time.
You're like, bitch, I know.
Yeah, right. Every single time I go out, somebody will be like me and my wife just went to Dream Athletics the other day, and we were playing with Ira, and Ira's running around, and this lady's like, she is so cute. And I was like, oh yeah, thank you. And my wife looks at me from across the room like, you just acknowledge that? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just let her think whatever, you know?
They are cute.
Yeah,
Who
cares? He's running around, and I'm like, all right, come here, buddy. And she's like, oh, is that a boy? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. No, and she was like, oh my God, and like was all tripped out about it. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's totally, they're babies. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It really does not matter. Like, thank you for acknowledging my kid. I was thankful that you acknowledged my kid. Yeah. Period. That's it. You know,
no doubt.
So, you know, that acknowledgement is super important. But I feel like nowadays it's way more driven about what people think, you know, especially when you run a business. You have to think about that. Like when you do your business or when you're doing your, you know, it's really hard to like.
I think just for me, I'm a simultaneous. I'm a big pendulumer. I feel that sometimes I struggle. I think I'm glorious.
Yeah.
I find myself beautiful and talented. The relationships I have with friends. Yeah. Like, I still love and giggle and flirt with bitches from kindergarten. My children and I are good. Yeah. Look at my beautiful... And then, I am a fucking failure. Yeah. And I cuss too much. I'm this, there is so much between it. And now it's more... I feel like being an entrepreneur helped me like go down the path of absolutely And if you don't like that, then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where if you're working for an employee and they get to tell you that you're right or wrong, they kind of do.
Yeah.
Because they are your matriarch.
Yeah, 100%.
To where when I was, so me having my own business, and now I happen to get along with, I mean, people can't stand me, obviously. I'm a lot, but I also am very well received.
Yeah.
So for me, I think being an entrepreneur, it helped me be like, I don't care what people think.
Yeah.
You know, but I think our culture in general, like when I was a little pup, you didn't even know what other people were doing unless you got to come over for a sleepover.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't get invited to the sleepover, you and everybody knows. Yeah. So there's more depth. Eagle-eyes. Yeah. But I feel for me, being an entrepreneur has helped me not care as much. Because it's more like... Yeah. And it's been hard. Yeah,
of course.
Lord. But it would have been hard. Can you imagine me at a... Oh my gosh. When I first opened my first salon, people would always laugh. Like, can you imagine Annie, like, working at a doctor's office? Like, in the, you're like sitting there and I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, what is that noise? Like, it's just Annie.
Oh, Annie's just cussing. She's saying something.
Yeah, right? it's so funny. When you talked about cussing, I cuss like a sailor. And honestly, like, I feel like if simple words like that affect you, then you got more things to worry about than how I speak.
For me, I feel like it's the intention.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
I do, if I'm private.
Yeah.
And something happens, I will scream fuck.
Oh yeah.
And it feels good, like an exfoliator of anger, but a lot of people will think I don't cuss because my cussing is very flirty. Like, you are so fucking cute. So the fucking is kind of like a glitter word. It's not a punch word.
It's like an additive almost in a way.
So my daughter's not as comfortable. She doesn't, like, sometimes if a cuss word is in a song, she'll be like, But my son has always been like, and I'm like, baby, you go right on ahead. But if you do it in anger, you're just showing that you're not as brilliant as you are.
100%.
Like, if you are angry, I want you to use your thesaurus. I want you to use your emotional scale. I want you to use your words. If you're just telling a story and getting a little sassy, it's like my earrings and my high heels.
Yeah,
like,
it's like, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I totally
But
agree.
if you're going to get your panties in a bunch over me saying, fuck, then really, I don't have time for you. Because if you hear what I'm saying, because somebody cannot cuss and be really not correct.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't like my love and joy that I'm saying, because I said the word F-U-C-K, then honey, we're in different crock pots. And
whole different way.
I don't even have non-bread to wipe you up with.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I always laugh at stuff
you're
like
a chopstick with rice for me right now. I can't get you.
Right? I always laugh because I'm such a person that accepts people for who they are. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, you're your own.
So fun.
Yeah, you're your own
but
presence.
myself, of course, you're gonna drive me nuts.
Like, you're your own presence. Yeah. So you be you, and if you're anything else, then you're not yourself. And if you're not yourself around me, then I'm not.
I don't.
You know what I mean? Like my oh my God, my wife is the funniest person ever. Like, she says the funniest jokes all the time, and she always makes me laugh. Even when we're out in public, she does the same thing. And I think that's why I like her the most, is because she's unapologetically herself all the time. Yeah. And so, like, when I met her, I was not there, kind of. She really helped. And so now I am.
Like, would you be a little like, oh, golly, honey, temper it down?
Yeah, like when I first was with her, like, oh my God, don't say that out loud. Now I'm like, I just don't fucking care.
My whole family, they're like, yeah, that's my mom.
Yeah.
My lady.
100%. I always tell her, I was joking, I'm like, our sons are going to be so embarrassed because when they're 18, I'm going to be...
They won't be.
I'm going to be myself all the time for forever, so.
I think that it's beautiful. My son had to have, because I do get a little sexually inappropriate, I just get a little flirty sometimes. And so we had a secret word, I don't know, I think it was like 8 or 9, pineapple, but then I told too many people, so he was going to, like, if I was, because I like sometimes touch ladies' cleavage because it's just so pretty, whatever, I don't fucking know. I'm sorry, Melinda Myers. I'm learning about consent. This was a while ago before I learned about consent. Yeah. But just like a little flirty, like a grab you. I would love somebody to grab my butt, like, come on, like, we're all just like, Luke would have to be like, I think, we use pineapple, but I use that too much. And then be like, hey, Mama, what's the weather in Arizona? And I'd have to, and then I'd realize.
You're like,
and then I'd be like, okay, so what time's the next game at? And I'd like, kind of like, step back.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to be a little respectful. But I do think that if anybody is themselves, all is well.
Oh, 100%.
All is well.
100%.
Because it's either from pain that you loving them can help untangle, or it's from your uncomfortableness, from your lack of love, and they can help you, you're furling or unfurling.
Yeah. And you always learn from everybody, even people who, hide themselves a little bit. I mean, in that motion or that act of hiding self, like you're learning something about them that either they have some type of insecurity that they're not ready to talk about. So then you're mindful, like, okay, I see that this is happening and I know that in the future that this might happen again. So maybe you'll tell me, and if not, I'm just aware of this present moment.
I love that. Have you heard of Abraham Hicks?
I've not.
Abraham Hicks, long ago, I was going through one of the biggest kerfuffs of my life, and it's an older woman who channels people that she calls Abraham.
Okay.
So it's this older woman, and as she speaks, she's got all of these different words, so it takes a little bit. Now, what were we just talking about? Now I'm forgetting what was I even? Because she has so much to say. But what were we?
We were talking about knowing people's, when something happens and they have like a little trigger and you understand and you're learning those things from those people.
Oh my God. I want to say, like, I have like 18,000
I'm gonna get in the car and I'm gonna drive and you're like, oh, I remember. I do that every time.
Basically, just Google Abraham Hicks. Yeah, okay. I can't. There are too many.
You're all too many.
All right,
too many things. That's okay.
You know what I want to get back to?
Yeah, go for it.
And I will text you because the Abraham Hicks really,
for sure.
I mean, she is a little loopy in an amazing way, but it takes a while to figure out her words. But I would like, so what is your goal right now? Because we kind of started dabbling with this at